Hi everyone, in this video we'll be looking at the text split function in Excel. I'll first cover some basic use cases of why this function would be relevant, why you'd want to use it. Then we'll look at the arguments pertinent in this function, and then I'll show you two examples wherein we will be looking at splitting the text with one delimiter, with a single delimiter, and splitting the text with multiple delimiters as well, right? So without any further ado, let's get started. So before we come to the text split function, it is also important to understand, right, why would data come out of systems, or why would data have different delimiters in the first place. So one of the various reasons can be that there are multiple data sources from which data comes from. It can be CSV databases, APIs, software exports such as your ERPs, which might have different delimiters. There might be differences in the locale as well. A lot of times, due to manual data entry, there might be issues when different files are consolidated together. When you want to merge data from different sources, such as a financial system, a marketing platform, or an HR database, internally from an organization, that might also lead to certain issues or challenges. And due to data export settings, wherein different delimiter options might be based on different system preferences or compatibility with downstream tools, right? Essentially, the text splitting as an act is necessary to extract, organize, and analyze specific data points from a single text field, enabling more efficient data manipulation and insights, right? Let's now come to how the function works. You have 6 arguments in the function, right? The first argument is the text that you want to split. Second argument is the column delimiter, which means if I want the output to be spread across multiple columns, then I specify the column delimiter. Every other argument is, as you can see, mandatory, not non-mandatory. The row delimiter would split by rows. If there are any empty cells that come up between two delimiters, if there is no value, I can decide to choose or include empty cells. The default that it picks is false. I can specify the match mode, which is, do I want a case sensitive or a case insensitive match. And the last is, if there's an NA, what do I want to pad the value by in case there is an error, right? In the example that is available here, you have 1, 2, 3 with commas, then a colon, and then 4, 5, 6, right? The first argument is the text. Second argument, right? The second argument is the column delimiter, which is a comma in this case. And the third argument, which is the row delimiter, is a semicolon, right? If I were to show you this exact example in Excel before I come to the examples that I have prepared for you, let us see how we can do that. So I'll come to a new sheet. I will zoom in and let me just write the example here. So let's say I have 1, 2, 3 with a colon, semicolon, and then I have 4, 5, 6. This is the example that is used. And if I say equal to text split, right, a lot of text functions available now, I choose my text, then I choose my column delimiter, which in this case is a comma. I have to put that in double quotes. I'll just put a few spaces so that the formula is more readable. I then specify my row delimiter, which is a semicolon. For now, I can ignore the other arguments, press enter, and my data gets split into 3 columns and 2 rows, because that is what I specified in the formula, right? That is what I specified in the formula. Perfect. Now coming to the examples that I have prepared for you, I have IDs and I have certain text here. Maybe this has come from an internal system or has been collated using a form or a survey, and I want to split the data into different columns. Now here, as you can see, in each of these rows, between the first name, the last name, the age of the person, and the designation or the job role, there is a clear delimiter, which is there is a common delimiter, which is a comma. Now if I want to split this data across 4 separate columns, I would only need the column delimiter argument, not the row delimiter. So I will start with writing the text split function. I can press tab, choose my text, put a comma, put some spaces there just to make the formula more readable and spaced out. I specify my column delimiter, and now if you think about it, every other argument is non-mandatory, so I can simply press enter and it generates the result for me. I can simply drag the formula down and it splits data as per the instructions that I had provided to it, right? I'll display the formula at the top over here as well for easy reference, and you can see fairly straightforward, nothing very complex. In the second example, we look at multiple delimiters to be split. So in this data, as you can see in column B, from B4 to B11, I have multiple delimiters available in the data set. Now When you are dealing with multiple delimiters, you can supply them in the column delimiter or row delimiter argument, but the order in which you supply the or input the delimiters is fairly important. So ones that are more frequently appearing, or the ones that are most important for you to split by, you can have them as at the first position, right? But in a lot of cases, even after you do a text split, you would need to add an additional function like maybe text join when there are multiple words that you're dealing with. So for example, in this case, what I would do is I would say text split. I would choose my text, put some spaces there, and I'll open in the column delimiter argument curly braces, and I'll start putting in my delimiter. So I start with a comma, then a space, then a semicolon, and then a dash. I'll close my parentheses, press enter, and it gives me the result. And it gives me the result. No, that's from earlier. Yeah. And I can copy the formula down. Now, okay, that's a different function I think altogether that I had put in earlier. Not sure whether it's still there. Oh no, this is the result from the current one, my bad. Now, as you can see, there are these multiple spaces coming in between, because if you look at the arguments, right, in the ignore empty, whether to ignore empty cells, it defaults to false, right? So if I come to that argument, I can skip the row delimiter argument. It defaults to false, which is it includes empty cells. I can change that to true, so it will remove those empty cells. It will remove those empty cells, right? And this will give me the result for the text split, right? You can look at the formula at the top. You just have to specify the multiple delimiters in curly braces. Now, what do you do with the roles which are in separate columns? How do you handle those? I would simply use a different function called text join. That would be a much simpler approach than rather going for a very complex solution. I can simply put a space as a delimiter between the two words in case the role has two words mentioned. Put a comma. Here I can decide to ignore any empty cells, because in some cases I only have one word and I don't want that additional space to come. So I can say I want true, I want to ignore empty cells, and I can simply choose the two columns, press close my parentheses, enter, drag the formula down, and this would be my role column. I can simply just copy this on top of this, and I would have the correct role column available with me, right? So first I used text split in this case, and then I had to use a text join because the space was present in cases where the designation had or the role had two words. I hope you guys had a good experience watching this video. I hope you learned something new. For more videos on this channel, stay tuned for upcoming content. And if you want to learn more about data cleaning, we have a playlist on our YouTube channel wherein we cover in 39 videos how you can master data cleaning and preparation. I will share the link in the description of this video. Thank you.